In this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you on how to do a top stitch. A top stitch is a finishing stitch, which is usually found on collars or places on your garment where you have facing. It's a very good stitch to do for decorative reasons, but also because it makes your piece lie flat and gives it a nice clean finished look. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So here's my scrap piece that I'm playing with, just to show you how to do a top stitch. So I have two pieces that have been sewn together. Here's my seam allowance right here. So I have it all along my side here. So I'm going to flip this back right side out. So you see I have the right side on this side and the right side on the other side, and it's been stitched all the way around here. Now before you're doing a top stitching, after you stitch it, a good rule of thumb is to definitely press it. You want it to be nice and flat before you start to top stitch it. Your top stitch now, we're going to sew along the top here. And I'm going to do it at a 1/2 inch, but you have to look at your directions in your pattern or for whatever you want to see which width of stitch you want. But I'm going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So you're just going to treat it like a regular seam where you're going to go for it. You're going to go forward a couple of stitches. You're going to do your back stitch. And I'm doing it in blue and pink just so you can see clearly where my stitches are on this fabric. And I'm just going to very carefully keep following the 1/2 inch seam allowance. When I get close to my corner here, I'm going to put the needle down and pivot my fabric. Oh, maybe one more stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to continue. And since this is more decorative, I mean, you can kind of play with it. You can do 2 top stitches and give it kind of a fancier look. But it's also a good stitch because it's not that it's holding these pieces together, but it's keeping it so that it lies nice and flat and gives it kind of a crisper look. So if this was a collar, it would come off as a really crisp looking collar. So now I'm getting to the end again here. Lift my foot, turn it, and then continue on. So once I get to the end, I'm going to also do a back stitch, and then I would clip my excess thread here after I pull it out. So I would clip off all these threads, but this is it finished. So you can see, here's my stitching right here, and then on the other side, it's pink. It's a little bit harder to see, but it's right here. So that's all a top stitch is. It's just, you know, a stitch that goes on top of your finished pieces to give it that nice finished look. So now I'm going to show you on my jacket I'm working on. So this is my jacket that I'm now going to do a top stitch on. This is the facing that I put on the inside. This is the right side of my fabric here. So I have my seam running right down the middle here. So I went ahead, flipped it inside out and pressed it. And now I'm going to go ahead and slip it under here. And I'm going to do the 1/2 inch mark again. And see here. So I'm just going to start it here, but I'm actually going all the way around on this jacket. Put my needle down, put my foot down. I'm going to do a couple of stitches. Do a back stitch to tie it off. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just going around following the 1/2 inch mark. And this will give my jacket a nice clean look. And that's all a top stitch is. I finished doing my top stitching. This is what it looks like on my finished garment right here. So you can see the stitch right here on top of my piece. Underneath, this is the facing. Here's the stitching again. So it goes through both layers, and it's a 1/2 inch from your edge. The seam between the two runs right down the middle there. So as you can see, it makes the garment look nice and finished. So that's how you do a top stitch. Our book, Professor Pincushion's Beginner Guide to Sewing, Garment Making for Nervous Newbies, is now available to order. Go to professorpincushion.com/books or click on the link in the description to see a list of vendors where you can purchase it.